these people are living in the dark ages. I think Brett Kavanaugh and some of these Republicans who are defending him have three things going against them, Chris. The first one is her credibility. The second one is his credibility. And the third one is the Me Too movement. Her credibility, I mean, this is not a woman who was looking to come forward. It's clear she's been struggling with this. This is not a new issue from the notes from her therapist going back to 2012. She has been struggling, as women who have been sexually assaulted often do. And this has been very difficult. It's clear to me from the accounts that she came forward out of some sense of duty to the country, initially hoping to be anonymous and then realizing she had to stand up for herself. But given what she is experiencing, you see why people don't want to come forward. His credibility, he has at best misled the Judiciary Committee on a number of issues, at worst perjured himself. But the reality is,
give me an example of that, because I'm not sure that. Congressman, when has he perjured himself?
Well, I said at best misled and at worst perjured. And I'll give you one specific example around the judges' nominations when he said back in, I think it was 2006, when he was testifying before the Judiciary Committee, that he had had no contact and no involvement with the nominations of a number of judges, including Judge Pryor. He was questioned later by Leahy again about this. He said no. The emails that were finally released just a few days before this all started in this hearing showed very clearly that, in fact, he had contact with that nomination and with a number of other nominations. What's being called Memogate is another example. And so whether or not you think he misled or perjured, the reality is he hasn't been completely truthful. And the fact that Mark Judge does not want to come forward and testify, she didn't have to put somebody else in the room at the time of this event. In fact, it would have been better for her in some instances to say it was just me and Brett Kavanaugh. But that's not what she did. She said there was another person in the room. That person does not want to testify. And if you look at his writings and his books, in some ways, he is actually making her case for her that this was a drunken stumble through the teenage years. And he doesn't, he's gone back and forth saying, I don't remember, it didn't happen. So I don't think Judge Kavanaugh has a lot going for him with the credibility. And remember, Chris, only 38 to 40%, depending on what polls you look at, of Americans actually think that Judge Kavanaugh should be confirmed. And finally, the third point, we are in the midst of the Me Too movement. And as you said, you would not know it by listening to some of those comments from Republican senators. But the reality is this country has seen over and over again that women have been assaulted, that men deny those assaults until they can't. 72% of Americans believe that sexual assault in this country is real and a serious problem. So I think that this is a big problem for the Republicans, and I think that, women across the country are watching this very closely. To have these senators and President Trump come out and essentially deem her guilty before she's even, had a chance to have a fair investigation when we are talking about the highest court of the land, I think that's going to be unacceptable to Republican and Democratic women across this country. And I think Republicans better be very, very careful and think about what century they're living in.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.